Stern, silent, unyielding, and powerful. Terrifyingly powerful. On screen, he literally tore his opponents apart, earning a reputation as a brutal villain. But what's he like in real life? This video is about Bolo Yeung, a Chinese bodybuilder, martial artist, actor, and director. In a moment, you'll learn how he exploited Bruce Lee, why he was afraid of Van Damme, and how many pounds he could lift. Bolo Yeung, where the beast from the east and Bruce Lee's friend has disappeared too. Yeung was born on July 3, 1946, in Meizhou district of Guangdong province, China, and was the only child in the family of a local businessman and a housewife. At the age of 10, Yeung began practicing martial arts in Guangzhou, where he trained under several kung fu masters. The boy successfully mastered a variety of skills, which included kicking, punching, and blocking techniques. Zay also devoted some time to studying karate and later even appeared on the covers of several martial arts magazines. However, Yeung gained fame as a versatile martial artist, excelling also in Taekwondo, Wing Chun, and Tai Chi, the latter of which is still his favorite to this day. Growing up, he also developed a passion for weightlifting and bodybuilding and even became the mainland Chinese powerlifting champion, with his best deadlift result exceeding 660 pounds. However, in communist China, there were fewer and fewer opportunities to develop his talents. Eventually, in the mid-1960s, Yeung decided to move to Hong Kong, but it was not easy. He had to swim 2.5 miles across Shenzhen Bay. The guy was very lucky, not only to survive, but also to avoid being caught and sent back to his homeland. In Hong Kong, the young athlete became a coach, founding a school of bodybuilding, and in 1970, he won the Mr. Hong Kong Bodybuilding Championship title. By the way, he was able to hold this title for 10 years. Meanwhile, he was spotted by representatives of Shaw Brothers Studio, Hong Kong's largest and most famous film company, and was invited to star in a movie. Yeung debuted in 1970 action films The Wandering Swordsman and The Heroic Ones, where he performed small roles of menacing fighters. Over the next few years, he remained heavily involved in martial arts films, including the action drama Five Fingers of Death, which was the first Asian martial arts film to be released in the United States, and the historical martial arts drama The 14 Amazons. In 1973, Yeung stopped working with the Shaw Brothers Studio and starred in the film Chinese Hercules. In this film, among the extras, you could see young Jackie Chan, who also acted as a fight scene choreographer.
He's just a fool, a big one.
Well then, what do you do with fools?
We kill him and dump him.
By the way, thanks to this film, the actor became known as the Chinese Hercules. The nickname stuck to him as firmly as the Beast from the East. And a couple of years before that, while filming a Winston cigarette commercial, Yeung met Bruce Lee. They quickly developed a friendship, and in 1972, Bruce invited Yeung to work in the movie Enter the Dragon, co-produced by the US and Hong Kong, which premiered in the summer of 1973.
Oh, don't hit back.
Bolo! Go!
By the way, in the summary of the film, the actor was mistakenly called the champion of Shotokan Karate, although in fact, he has never practiced this kind of martial arts. The film was a resounding success, grossing $400 million at the worldwide box office with a budget of only $850,000. It also became one of the most influential martial arts films and helped increase interest in Eastern hand-to-hand combat sports. The role of Bolo, the brutal sidekick of the main antagonist, after whom Yeung took the pseudonym Bolo Yeung, brought him international fame and boosted his career. The character of Bolo appears in one of the most memorable scenes of the film, where he takes down 4 guards with his bare hands on Mr. Han's orders. By the way, Yeung and Lee worked very closely on fighting technique, experimenting and deciding which moves would work and which wouldn't. And later in an interview, Bolo admitted that he was honored to call unbeatable Bruce Lee his friend. That time, Yeung didn't fight with Lee on the screen, and the friends and colleagues promised to please fans with a spectacular fight in the next joint movie. However, these plans were never meant to come to fruition due to Bruce's sudden death a few days before the premiere of Enter the Dragon. For the same reason, Bolo's professional prospect faded as his planned move to the US failed. He kept appearing in local low-budget films. He managed to settle in the US only many years later. In 1973, Yeung appeared in several other films, including action movies Greatest Thai Boxing, Super Kung Fu Kid, Call to Arms, and others. The actor never publicized his personal life, and the public knows nothing about his wife. However, it was reported that in July 1974, his family had their first son, named David Yeung. Under the guidance of his father at the age of 3 years old, the boy began to practice martial arts. At the age of 12, he became interested in bodybuilding. In 1998, he won the Mr. California title. He has also tried his hand at acting and is now pursuing a coaching career. Bolo later had a daughter, Deborah, who followed in the footsteps of her father and brother and took up bodybuilding. Later, he had a son, Danny, who also devoted his life to sports. Yeung then went on to play minor antagonists in multiple martial arts films. For example, in the 70s, he could be seen in the films The Young Dragons, All Men Are Brothers, Hong Kong Superman, and A Queen's Ransom. By the way, in those years, Bolo also appeared in the so-called Bruceploitation movies, i.e. action films that exploited the name and image of Bruce Lee after his death. Such works included Bruce's Deadly Fingers, Soul of Bruce Lee, Bruce the Superhero, 2 installments of Bruce, and Shaolin Kung Fu, and many others. Playing in such films, Bolo honed his trademark style, which he used to nonchalantly maim his enemies without even looking them in the eye. In 1978, the action movie Enter the Game of Death premiered, the work on which was interrupted by Lee's death in 1973. They managed to complete the production of the film with the help of stunt doubles, and it was highly successful among fans of the genre. In 1979, the Taiwanese film The Dragon the Hero premiered, where Bolo appeared as a guest star. Also, there was a premiere of the action-adventure movie The Fists, The Kicks, and The Evil, also starring the actor. The latter became one of Bolo's favorite films of the period. In addition to acting, Yeung also tried his hand at directing, making action films Bolo and Hot Dog Kung Fu, released in 1977 and 1979 respectively. In 1980, Bolo co-starred with Jackie Chan in the Chinese action film Fearless Master, and in the Taiwanese Hong Kong action film Master Killers. And in 1982, he played the Japanese Army squad leader in the movie Chinese Goliath. The early 80s saw the premieres of the action films Ninja Strikes Back, 36 Deadly Styles, and The Boxer's Omen. In 1985, Bolo portrayed a fooled millionaire in Sammo Hung's successful comedy action movie My Lucky Stars with Jackie Chan, and hung in the lead roles.
With her? Well, sort of. It was just physical.
And do you know what my relationship is with her?
Do tell.
I'm her husband.
What a coincidence!
Now you know why I have to kill you!
In 1986, Bolo appeared in a small role as a weaver in another Sammo Hung's project, comedy action western Millionaires Express, and also played a thug in the crime thriller Legacy of Rage, starring Brandon Lee.
Look, man, I'm just working here. Why mess with me?
Messing with you. You're messing with me, not the other way around. Look, kid. If you've got the guts, then we'll take it outside.
Interestingly enough, Yeung also acted as a trainer for the guy who would become a solid fighter in just a few weeks. However, this task proved to be very difficult, as Bruce Lee's son constantly violated the schedule and was late for training. In the same year, the actor could be seen in lesser-known films Lucky Stars Go Places and Where's the Office Tuba, and in 1987, he appeared in the thriller Killer's Nocturne and comedy drama You Are My Destiny. However, the main success came to Bolo Yeung with the role of Chong Li, a strong and brutal opponent of Jean-Claude Van Damme's character in the American action movie Bloodsport, released in 1988.
Whoa, yeah!
Very good. But break, not hit back.
The film had considerable commercial success but was trashed by critics. Curiously, over the years, the film has acquired cult status, and a new generation of movie critics rated it much higher than their predecessors. By the way, many fans of the genre argued that it was Bolo, not Van Damme, who was the main star of the movie. Surprisingly, as a teenager, Jean-Claude was very impressed with the technique and physique of the menacing Chinese master. He hardly imagined that he would get to work with his idol. Moreover, he caused him serious injuries such as broken ribs and a concussion during the shooting. In 1989, Yeung played Chang Lee, a cool member of the Vietnamese martial arts school, in the Hong Kong adventure action film Blood Fight, inspired by the fighter's previous hit. In 1991, Bolo returned to American cinema and played the role of a villain again in the action drama film Breathing Fire.
Sorry about this. For your own good.
He also received a new offer from Damme to work on the crime action film Double Impact for a fee of $25,000. At first, Bolo refused as he didn't want to suffer new injuries from his colleague, but later he changed his mind and played a ruthless killer named Moon.
Where are the twins?
F you.
Stop! They're gone. They've left the island.
She lies.
Fortunately, the cooperation between Bolo and Jean-Claude was accident-free, but the film showed quite modest results at the box office and predictably did not impress critics. That same year, 1991, there was a premiere of the film Fearless Tiger, in which Yeung played a positive character for the first time, and Tiger Claws, where he worked with Cynthia Rothrock.
Me and you, we are the same.
We're not the same.
In 1992, Bolo was featured in the action drama Ironheart, as well as in the film Shoot Fighter: Fight to the Death, notable for its extremely violent and unrealistic killing scenes. In it, Bolo played the role of Master Shingo, the mentor of two young fighters involved in underground fights.
有什么事吗？
如果到墨西哥去到现在，
你过去做的事儿，追着你没完没了，可怎么好？
我不想谈这些。
In 1993, Yeung again played a good guy in the sci-fi action movie TC-2000, playing Master Sumai, who is trying to save the world from a nuclear disaster.
What the hell happened, Suma? TC-2000X.
In 1996, Bolo reprised his role as Shingo in the action film Shoot Fighter 2, where his character fights a group of bloodthirsty gangsters involved in underground fights. Bolo also starred in another sequel, Tiger Claws 2, an action film about a ruthless killer, and then he quit his movie career.
Gentlemen, I'm sure we'll know soon enough if you're still in fighting form.
Try.
However, 10 years later, Yeung still decided to please his fans, playing the main character's coach in Blizhny Boy: The Ultimate Fighter, an action movie co-produced by the US and Kazakhstan. The film was submitted to private film festivals in 2007, but failed to find a distributor. As a result, the film was not released in any country in the world and became available to viewers only a few years later. Meanwhile, Bolo maintained his position as a chairman of the Hong Kong Gym Business Association and the team manager of the Taipei International Bodybuilder Squad. In 2010, Yeung collaborated again with the Kazakhstan film producers and starred in the adventure action film Diamond Cartel, which was released worldwide in 2015. In addition, in 2011, Bolo took part in the filming of the documentary project Jean-Claude Van Damme Behind Closed Doors. In it, Van Damme's son decided to make his father happy and invited Yeung to dinner at a restaurant. Colleagues rejoiced at the unexpected meeting and had a great time reminiscing about the challenging work on Bloodsport and Double Impact. Then, Bolo decided to leave show business again. However, it has been revealed that Bolo Yeung will soon return to the screens in the action-adventure drama Afares, produced by filmmakers from Turkey, the US, and Germany. The release date of the film is currently unknown. Over a long and fruitful career, Bolo managed to amass a fortune of $1.5 million, which allowed him to own a magnificent mansion in Monterey Park, California, where he moved in 2018. The stylish and bright house features a kitchen, a spacious dining room with a luxurious chandelier, a living room with a fireplace, and 4 bedrooms. The well-maintained green area of the mansion has a small fountain, a cozy gazebo, and a garage for several cars. By the way, the public knows only one of Bolo's cars, an Audi A3 convertible that cost $49,000. Interestingly enough, Yeung was always very comfortable with playing bad guys who were often defeated or killed by other characters. He knew that his appearance was best suited for such roles, and moreover, they were the roles that brought him world fame. Yeung is known for his signature pose in which he, tensing all his muscles, shows off his intimidating physique and incredible strength, which still amazes the audience. Bolo's imposing appearance, despite his short stature of 5'7", served as the prototype for the character Sagat in the popular game series Street Fighter. Thanks to Tai Chi, his favorite martial art, even now at the age of 77, the actor maintains excellent physique, keeping his body flexible and strong. He works out consistently for 2 hours a day and does not smoke or drink alcohol. In real life, Yeung is modest, reserved, and well-mannered. He doesn't resemble his violent characters at all, but he successfully managed to create truly frightening personas. And unlike most of his colleagues, he didn't want to show perfect technique, but rather to make the audience feel the real spirit of martial arts. As a result, the actor managed to make the viewer empathize with even the most bloodthirsty villain performed by him. In which movie do you think Bolo Yeung plays the most memorable part?